Hi everybody, Pokey here. I actually just did another video, which was my commemorating being here for 2 years at the place that we're living with the state. I ended it on a pretty happy note, actually, which was just that I'm straight up happy now. Not just that my kids are my happiness, but I'm my happiness. And there's a lot of growth that went into it, and now we're in a good place. So I said at the end of that video that I was going to do this video. However, I was like, I'm in like a tank top in the last one. I wanted to try to look kind of more professional. I don't know. I just wanted to look less obnoxious, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, this video is my review on A Starting Point, which is the website that the actor Chris Evans had started. Him and the co-founder, which actually I need to kind of look up what his name is. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. By the time I post this, I will have all that info in the comments. But anyway, A Starting Point. I had talked about it before, my estimate based on the reviews of what it could be, what it's going to be like, and the articles that talked about it before last year. I was like super curious. I want to know because I was like, this is awesome. I am not one of those very political people. I don't really know a lot about politics, and I have a hard time following along, especially since there's a lot of blah, 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 and not a lot of what the actual issue is. What are they even talking about? A lot of grandstanding going on. So I don't really know how to follow along half the time. So when this concept was talked about, I was like, dude, this is really cool. Okay, like this needs to happen. And I was just super excited. And I mean, I was mildly surprised that Chris Evans was the one doing it, just because, well, I don't know much about him. I'd seen him in a few like things before Avengers, but I mean, that definitely was one of my like, oh, hey, hi, you know? But you know, it was kind of actually last year when I started looking at more of his interviews, and then I saw kind of an article about this, and I was like, Chris Evans really? So it made me stand up and want to actually pay attention. So it made me actually look at some interviews from him in the past few years to kind of get an idea of like the kind of mindset he would have, you know, what kind of person he was. There are some people who think erroneously that just because you're an entertainer doesn't mean that you have an opinion or should have an opinion, especially when it comes to politics. And I'm just like, if you are part of this country, you should be involved. And yes, as I said, like I can't really follow along very well when it comes to politics. So I mean, I'm not, you know, an expert on any of that kind of stuff. I don't know where to look for a lot of stuff. And I think that was literally the whole point of the co-founders in this, because they're like trying to find out some information, and they were having a hard time finding anything online because, well, a lot of it was just a bunch of fluff. There wasn't really anything that talked about the actual issue or who they could go to for that kind of stuff. And me, I've had that issue before too. I know a lot of us have. So that was kind of the foundation of this was, why don't we have a one-stop shop for this? So people could kind of actually get more involved and more educated about this stuff, and at least know where to look for this kind of information. So me, I'm all for that kind of stuff. So I was really excited about it. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview. Like I have it on my phone. So, I mean, you can't really see it very well through that, you know, this video, but I'm going to kind of describe it. Basically, I have the app and everything on my phone, so I can kind of look at it when I'm on the go. I can't really get on my laptop very well. So that's why I have it on my phone. It's pretty awesome. I really like it. If you got a smartphone, yeah. So anyway, I'm on the homepage, and they have starting points, which is a 2-minute answers to common questions by elected officials. You got economy, education, environment. So I'm just going to go in and say see all. So they've got government, health, immigration, international rights. And they have they have those main topics, but then they have like kind of subtopics underneath that. So let me go in health. Health is Affordable Care Act. What is it? Is it effective or ineffective? What do you think the opposition would say regarding the Affordable Care Act? Like, these are really good questions. Marijuana, should it be legal, and what are the pros and cons? Medicare, what's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? Very important, actually, considering that currently, even though it's through a temp agency, I am working for the state where I am located right now, and I am in the call center for the appeals department of the state, health insurance. So, for Medicaid. So, I mean, there is a distinction. I'm not going to go into that right now, but there is a distinction, and it can trip a lot of people up, and it can influence what people try to get. And there can be a lot of issues when you try to go for one, but you're actually going for the other. So what is the difference between that's a good question. That's a good, yes, you should look that up. It's very important, especially during this whole COVID situation. Sorry. I was talking for almost 2 hours in my last video, so that's why my throat's a little blah. Anyway, so yeah, opioid crisis, prescription drugs, reproductive choice. Should abortion be legal in the U.S., and if so, under what conditions? Like, these are really good questions. So that's just one starting point. Rights. Criminal justice, it's got a couple of those. Like, what can be done to bring down the current rate of wrongful convictions? Gun rights, it has a few of those. It's like, what type of gun legislations are too strong or too weak? Like, these are really hardball questions, and I'm happy to see these kind of things. Net neutrality, reproduction choice is also under this. User privacy, voter laws and rights, human trafficking, which is a big deal. Trust me, we got a lot of training for that in the Navy. Any part of the military, you get training on that, but it's a big deal. It's a bigger deal than people think. So those are just some of the things. So the starting points I really like. I've read through most of these. I'm probably going to reread and go through some of them again. So I really like that. Daily points. I really like daily points. It is a forum for elected officials to make a point in under 2 minutes. And they tell you the name, whether they're a state senator, U.S. representative, if they're Democrat or Republican, the state, and it tells you how long ago they uploaded it. So I'm not even gonna go see all, I'm just gonna go most recent. So most recent are from 3 days ago and 1 day ago. So most recent was, let's see, I'll do the 1 day ago, is Andrew Gonardis. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I'm pretty sure. State Senator, D, Democrat, Bay Ridge, New York, 1 day ago. So he had something that was 2 minutes or under. There's another on this list, it says Eric Swalwell, U.S. Representative, Democrat, California, 15. I thought it was I-5 for a minute. 15, 3 days ago. So those are daily points. And so the one that was just a day ago for Andrew, he was going over COVID-19. The other dude for 3 days ago, Eric, was USPS, Save the Mail, veterans. Those are kind of the topics that he's talking about. You go further back, you've got 8 days ago, Asa Hutchinson, governor, Republican, Arkansas, and he was talking about election and vote by mail. So they tell you like the topic, they tell you the person, like if they're a governor, U.S. representative, senator, what their kind of position is, Republican, Democrat, the state, how long ago. Like, this is a lot of good information. Just looking at this page is a lot of good information because it's telling you where they stand, where they're from, like, and the topic that they're going over. So I really like that. The daily points. And this is something that especially they can do now when everyone's at home. Like, they can upload on, I like saw something with my hair, sorry. I was like, what is that? My hair's all over the place. They can upload minute or two or whatever of like something that they really want to talk about. And this can be like a progressive thing. Like, I love that because you're getting like up-to-date stuff constantly, repeatedly. That's amazing. You don't have to wait until someone has to talk on C-SPAN, which can be really, really boring sometimes. And then counterpoints. I actually really like this. I think this is a really, really good idea. A discussion between two members from across the aisle. So, for instance, and I'm definitely not going to introduce y'all, August 10th, 2020, should U.S. students go back to school in person or virtually this fall? Very good topic, especially since I'm a parent who has a kid who's doing virtual school right now. And since he has ADHD, it's really hard for him to focus. So he and I do things at nighttime. But I mean, I do like the virtual thing right now, especially since I'm going to be stay at home working until at least the end of the year. So even though they haven't announced anything for the school, I'm kind of for the virtual thing because I think it's safer when, come on, all the places and businesses where I'm at definitely are staying home right now. So, I mean, if they're not even going to let us inside the buildings, I don't know how I feel about my child being let inside a building. So, I mean, that's a big thing. I know that there are other people in my situation where they don't have a job or they do have a job, but they don't have anywhere for their kids to be or whatever. So it's like, it's a tough topic, especially going on right now. So, I mean, that's people talking about this. You've got Josh Gottheimer, U.S. Representative, Democrat, New Jersey, 5, versus Tom Reed, U.S. Representative, Republican, New York, 23. Honestly, I have no idea what the numbers mean. I would have to actually like dive into it and look at that. But that's just because, again, I'm not very savvy about this stuff. But I really, really like this because it takes out all that extra stuff when you've got those like debates on TV. To me, again, more grandstanding. It just seems, and it's repetitive too, and not in the best of ways. Like you're not, piggybacking on so and so. No, you're just constantly going over stuff that has nothing to do with the topic at hand and repetitively just digging at the other person. And it becomes like this dog and pony show that no one wants to see. And it's very frustrating because you don't actually know what anyone's talking about by the end of it. I hate those so much. Like I would purposely avoid TV anytime I knew one of those were going on because I felt like nothing was being accomplished. So these counterpoints, I've actually seen one before. I'm not going to go into any of that stuff, but because I'm not going to go into the actual topic they're talking about or my opinions about that specifically, the ones I saw. But I like it because it's them literally just getting their point across on their side of it without all that extra stuff or some sort of moderator or whatever. This is kind of the moderator where they're just uploading straight up, boom, within like a couple minutes or whatever. This is what I'm doing. This is how I feel. This is my point on this. And then the other person either responds or that, they kind of go back and forth, but they're specifically going back and forth on that topic. They're not really like making a dig at each other or anything. They're just straight up, this is the subject matter. This is an actual debate. This is the point of the debate and not, as I said, grandstanding. That's just my term for that kind of stuff. So I really like counterpoints for that reason. You can definitely sign up, stay informed. I already have. So you can do email. Who represents me? Find my reps. I really like this. I'm holding this up like you can see it, but you really can't. So I'm sorry. Find my reps, which I have. Basically, you click on this and, oh my gosh, why is it loading like this? Mine's not loading for some reason. No. Okay. There we go. I was like, oh no. Contact reps. Take action. Enter your zip so we can find your lawmakers. I'm not going to tell you my zip because if you know me for any of these videos, I do not tell you where I'm actually at right now. And then it says, we need a little more info. We need a little more info to pinpoint your lawmakers. And you can put in your street address, which I have in the past, so that's why I can do this. And then it'll say contact your reps. So you can actually send a message to contact them, and it'll tell you how to contact them. So it'll give you like whether they're Senate or House, and Republican or Democrat or whatever, and they'll give you the names of those people. I'm just going to click on, or not. Okay, send message. I'm going to go back because I'm not going to actually send a message. Oh no, I've gone back too far. I've come all the way back to choose starting points. Oh my goodness. Okay. But anyway, so you can actually send a message. You can, on the actual site, when you're on a computer, you can see a bit more than the app. So you can actually like look up these people and then give information about the representative. So I really like that because a lot of people don't even know how to find out who the representatives are for their county, for their state. So this gives you some insight to that. Are you registered to vote? Register here. And in partnership with Rise to Vote, which I think is really awesome. Now, I have a registration to vote. I just have to send it in because I finally got it in the mail. But anyway, that's just kind of like an overview, a brief overview. At the top is saying trending COVID-19, racial justice and police reform, election. Those are like the 3 top right now. And there's also a little thing at the top that, you know, goes over home, starting points, daily points, counterpoints, contributors. And it talks about contributors all, and there's a long list. And they're alphabetical too, which I love. I love the whole alphabetization and organization. I like to be organized. So, yay. Let me put about. I need to take better care of myself. Talking a lot and not drinking water. That's very taboo. You should not do that. You should be better than me. Drink more water. Okay. And so this is you can't see the picture, but Joe Kiani, California Governor, Gavin Newsom, Mark Kassen, I think Mark Kassen, yeah, that's like the other guy, and Chris Evans. Okay, Starting Point is a video-based civic engagement platform created by Chris Evans, Mark Kassen, and technology entrepreneur Joe Kiani. Okay, so it was Mark Kassen. That was the other guy that I was thinking of. Like, who's the other, like, co-founder? Like, I can't think of his name. And then that tech guy, what's his name? Yeah, there you go. ASP, Starting Point's mission is to create a bipartisan channel of communication and connectivity between Americans and their elected officials with the goal of creating a more informed electorate. Which is true. I've seen the evidence of this, and I think it's really well thought out. I've seen the video of, you know, them, like, the journey too. I thought it was really awesome. Now, at the top, they also have ASP chat, so like some of the newest stuff. So, for instance, they have the last 4 days of Democratic National Convention, and then they have Welcome, which is a Starting Point's co-founders on their journey. And as I said, I've seen that video, so I've seen like the journey, like the kind of thought that put into this, because Chris Evans went like all the way to the Capitol to like start talking to people. And I really like that. I really like that initiative that he couldn't understand stuff. So he went in search of information about it because it was important to him, and found that he couldn't find anything, or he found very little. So he was like, why can't we have someplace like a one-stop shop that actually has this stuff? Boom, that idea. And the fact that he went about to actually bring it to life, I think that's amazing. Like, kudos to you, Chris. Like, that is so awesome. Like, I don't think it's enough to just, you know, stand up and say, yes, I agree, or I don't agree with this, to lend a voice. I think it's important for us to actually be more involved in this kind of stuff. So I really like seeing that. I have a lot of ideas that I want to bring about. I'm definitely not in a place right now where I could do that, but seeing stuff like this just kind of motivates me a bit more. It motivates me to actually just kind of get out there and do stuff. So hopefully one day I can kind of get there. But I can say that I am the kind of person that really loves organization, that really loves trying to find the word, and I'm blanking. It's late at night. I'm very tired. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of it by the time I'm doing the description of this and putting the link below. I will have the link below for a Starting Point, because I think this is a really great tool for people who are not very savvy or don't already know what they know about, you know, their representatives or, you know, the topics at hand. And while I made an assessment before the other video, I'm going to go ahead and just put that down because, yeah. Anyway, I made an assessment before that I thought it was a great idea, and that I think it would be awesome if they had like people who like college professors or things like that. Now, that was my thought process then because I hadn't seen how it was set up. So that was just my idea of like, well, yeah, representatives, but what about people who are, teach political whatever, people who are teachers? And I thought, now that I've actually seen the way that it's set up, I don't think that would be the best idea is to bring in a whole bunch of college people or professors or, you know, doctorates. I don't think that's quite the best idea now, seeing how it's set up, seeing the way that everything is, because I think that would bring in a bit too much semantics on everything. Because me, I like to have all resources. I like to have everything that I can pull from. However, trying to keep this simple, right? I think that's the biggest part of this idea is to try to keep it simple, stupid. And not that people are stupid, just that, the phrase, simple, stupid, that just keep it kind of at a minimum. If you get offended by that, I can't help you. I'm sorry. It's just, that's what I've been around all my life, being fourth generation Navy and then being in the Navy for 8 years. It's simple, stupid is a very prominent sort of thing to say, honestly. So just keeping it simple. I think trying to bring in anything more outside of these representatives would actually be a bit claustrophobic, actually, for the site and for resources and information, because then you're getting really in the weeds about stuff. So I retract that thought and think that actually would be a bad idea. I think the way that it is set up right now is really, really good. I think that there could definitely be more topics, brought in, and more subtopics, definitely, because there's a lot. I mean, there's already a lot on there, and I know there's a lot more that could be put on there. But this is a work in progress, a continuous, project, and people can continue to add to it. So I'm not worried about whatever other topics being added. I know they can be added. This is definitely going to be something that's continuously worked on and added to. And I like that. I like that it's progressive, that it's not stagnant, that it's not, staying just within this little bubble. Because you have people from both sides of the aisle. You got Democrats, Republicans. I do think that maybe now seeing it set up, once it's expanded a bit more, maybe you can bring in more third party stuff, but that's just because that brings kind of a different mindset, a different viewpoint than what we already have. But that's something that can be expanded later. That's not something that is, is dire. I really do think that this is definitely a good starting point. I love that is what the title is, because it's a starting point. It is a start to educating ourselves, becoming more familiar with the process and how people view things, how they go about bringing it to fruition, how our government is processed, how our representatives are elected, how they do things, and what their thoughts are on all this. It gets us more involved. It gets us to really dive into those topics and learning what they're about, and then learning who represents us. Because that's the thing too, is that people seem to think before that voting didn't matter, but voting does matter. It's not just about the president or the government, the overarching government. It's about our representatives, because they're supposed to represent us and how we feel. So honestly, I'm going to tie into my job. So for appeals, you have a lot of people that are saying, nope, you made a mistake on my coverage or blah, blah, blah. So I'm appealing it. And I get that the state does make mistakes. Okay, nothing is ever perfect. But in my state, there are a lot of laws that have been passed or has been changed in the last few years. And I say last few is in the last 3 to 4 years. And you get a lot of elderly people who, some of them are a bit ostentatious and very self-righteous, and they feel that they are entitled to everything. And I know there are people out there who have ever worked in customer service who understand what where I'm coming from on that. But they were like, I was eligible for this or that like 10 years ago. And I'm just like, that was 10 years ago, though. In the last 3 to 4 years, this change has happened because of all this. New information was brought up, new laws were passed. We're just upholding those laws. If you do not agree with it, get with your representative. Talk to the person who's supposed to represent your best interests. If you don't agree with it, if you think that it's wrong, talk to someone who's in a position to represent you to get that law changed for your state, for your county, for whatever. And I've actually had to tell people that. I've actually had to talk about that kind of stuff, especially when it came to the Medicaid versus Medicare. So, I mean, the points of people, what they're eligible for, what they can get, the kind of coverage. You've had some people who are parents of college kids who now they're 19 or older, so they are no longer under a caretaker relative, which is you can get coverage as a caretaker relative of a minor child. Minor as in under, they consider it up to 19. 18, you're now an adult, considered an adult, but 19 is where they cap it. Now, that's just in my state. It's in a lot of other states, but I'm saying it's also in my state. However, there are a lot of parents who have issue with that, or they have issue with their kid no longer having coverage. Now, this is on the Medicaid level, okay? So if you could get other coverage through a job or something else, then they encourage you to. And a lot of us already pay taxes into healthcare through our job. You have to be under a certain bracket to get Medicaid. Some people don't understand that. This is before COVID, okay? So a lot of people don't understand that. There are certain criteria. So you got a lot of people that are calling in that are just really upset. A lot of parents that think their kids should get the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in between. So it's having to explain to them that, look, this is what it is, and we are upholding this. If you do not agree with that specifically, then talk to your representative, talk to your state representative, talk to the governor, talk to the mayor, talk to these people who are in these kinds of positions where if they can't change the law or make some sort of change, then they can speak on your behalf, make a case for it. Talk to other people who also do not feel the same way, or feel that, who also feel the same way as you. I worded that wrong. And, kind of make a case for it, present facts, present, evidence that this is not the way it should be. And that's why they should change it, or they should try to make an effort to change it. Like, it's not just on the Senate level, like the government level, it's on the state level too. So I've actually had to speak to people about that. So I really like how a starting point kind of sets everything up that says, who are my representatives? So it helps you find out who your representatives are for your state, for your county. Like, you put in your address. They're not, by the way, they're not sharing your address with any third parties. Like, I've already gone through that. I've already set up that stuff. They're just helping you find your representatives, or they're not sharing your email with any third parties. It's just so that you are informed of any kind of new, videos being uploaded or any other kind of things for that site. So I really like that. I like that it has like the counterpoints where you have the people that are like going back and forth, but it's on that specific topic. There are a lot of good things about this site. There are a lot of good, educational things too, because you're looking at it from that representative side. You're looking at it from the people who are the lawmakers who are representing us to the government. So, I mean, it's a big deal. And I know a lot of people, they overlook the state level stuff. They overlook the representative level. But I mean, these people are the people that we've elected to represent us. We've elected. It's not just about the president. And, people make a big deal about that. Yeah, because it's the presidency. But there are all these other people per state, per county that make things happen, because I don't know if you know this, but the state can do its own laws for stuff. Now, there's the overarching federal level of stuff, but then there's the state level, and it's per state. And a lot of times per county, because even in my state, per county, They're going by per county for the school thing or for like the COVID thing. Like that's per county right now. It's not the entire state on one level of understanding. So it's a big deal. It's more than people think. You know, you should get involved in that. So I really love the site. I can't tell you enough how excited I am that it's finally live. I can finally see it for myself and how it's set up, because I had my opinions, my ideas about it before, but now it's exceeded all expectations, and I cannot wait to see what else is put on there, what else they talk about. And I love that even though it's already got off the ground, Chris is like still a part of it. These videos for the Democratic convention the last few days, he's been part of those videos. He's been upfront and talking to people. He's continued with this project, and I love that. I love that because there's so many people that have these ideas or these projects and they start it, but then they just hand it off to someone else. Now, that's not to say that he won't bring more people in to help him with it as it kind of gets off the ground, because I can see this becoming popular with people the more that they see this, the more that they interact with it and you know, start to educate themselves and others about this kind of stuff. You know, in these kinds of topics, or the representatives and who they are, and getting to know them and getting to know their side of things or their views or what they're fighting for. So, I mean, I can see more being added on in the future. So that's not to say that, you know, he won't be able to, you know, he'll have to bring people in because, you know, it'll get bigger. I can see it getting bigger. But the fact of the matter is, he's still involving himself in it. He's still making time to talk to these people because he's passionate about that, because he believes in that. And that's very important. I feel that's very important to follow through with that stuff. That's really big on that. I know that I don't always finish like a little project here or there, but there are certain things in life that are very important that I really am big on following through and continuing. And I really love saying that. I'm very excited about that. I think that speaks volumes about not just him as a person, but the fact that, you know, he as well as the others have brought in this project. I know that he's getting more of the spotlight for it because he's front and center. He's definitely the spokesperson. You can see that. But he's also believes in it. He also really is devoted to it. And you can tell in the videos when you watch that, because I've seen a few of the videos where he's done those interviews where he's actually like engaging with those people, and he's actually asking those kinds of questions, and he's really getting involved in it. So I love that. I love that. That just makes me believe in this more, actually, is the fact that he's really pushing for this, and he's really trying to be front and center with it, and not just, you know, shove it off to someone else to talk to people. No, he's still getting involved. He's still talking to people. He's still interviewing. He's still asking those questions. He's still, you know, getting answers for it, and then engaging with those people. And he talks about in the journey video about how he was, you know, he's like, oh no, like just no one's like talking to me about this, you know, because they think it's a joke, but it's not. And you know, his fears about that, and just, oh my gosh, you know, please tell people about it. And people started to tell others about it. So it started to gather momentum, and I'm really excited about that. So that is my take on a starting point. I know I look more official with this whole polo shirt, but anyway, this is me and my view on it, and also promoting it. I promote and I'm going to push this constantly. I'm going to post the link, not just below, but on my Facebook, my Instagram. Now, I'm not giving you my Facebook and Instagram. Those are private. But I'm going to start sharing this with my friends and my family and say, hey, just, you know, here, you know, especially if you are like me and you're just kind of floundering around, not knowing anything about politics or where to start on anything. A starting point is literally the starting point. I think it's great. It has a lot of good information on there already, and I know it's going to be added on to in the future, and I think that's awesome. I'm really excited about that, and I hope you guys don't mind that it's been this long preview. It's almost 35 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's a long video. But yeah, Starting Point. It's really awesome. Go check it out. And okay, I should just stop this video. All right, my battery's almost dead too. Oh my gosh. So Starting Point, and I hope you guys are doing well. I know a lot of things have been happening, not just COVID, not just the protests, not just the lots of things are happening. So I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope that I hope you're doing okay. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.